Hi everyone, so my name's David Perilli. I'm one of the organisers of the Dorking Film Festival. My colleague over there is Robert McCaffrey, the other organiser. So short 10-minute sort of panel question session, and then we'll announce the awards from the last two sets of films. If my panellists could introduce themselves and tell us a quick little bit about themselves and which film they were responsible for.
Hi, I'm Gabriel Kellett. I directed The Middleman, which was the second to last film. And yeah, that was my second short film, editing my third at the moment, and hopefully going to move on to some kind of first feature film, I hope, in the next few years, is the plan. Yeah.
Thanks. I'm Nelson Black, directed Parody, the last one. That was my sixth short film. It was actually a 50-minute film which we cut down to just make it more cohesive, so it ended up being 17 minutes. And my next project is I'm going to try and go for the full length, find the money and it all works out.
I'm Josh Merrit. Echoes is the one, that's my first short that I directed, second that I created. Background's in comedy, moved into drama. I've done a lot of work on other people's films. I'm mainly a video editor. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything much more. There's probably something more interesting than that, but yeah.
Okay, so something that struck me watching the sort of three films in succession almost just now is that each of them are about dysfunction in some way. Take it in turns, but do you each think it's possible to make a film about people who aren't dysfunctional?
I suppose it's possible, but why would you want to? I think it would be probably not very interesting. That's my take.
I think so, but I also think that dysfunction it creates more drama, a bit more conflict. You can have more fun with it because usually the more complex it can be, it is. I think the more interesting you can get to the root of the character in the story. I think it's like a journey you want to take the people on.
I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I'd say there's an argument for that everything has conflict. So to not have conflict could be a conflict in itself. It could be interesting. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's a film that's done that before. There are a couple of films where they don't have. Can't think of a reference which is terrible. They don't have conflict as such, but they're still interesting. I suppose that in itself is conflict, but I think you can have interesting subject matter without conflict, but no, I might retract that actually. I don't think you can. I think there's always, whether it's positive or negative, there's always some sort of conflict, but because you asked about dysfunction, didn't you? Mm-hmm. So.
Okay, well, we'll stick with you, Josh. What was the germ of what was the idea, essentially? Where did your film come from?
Well, Echoes, so basically it stemmed from, I was researching, because I've been a big fan of, I'm sure everyone knows who Pink Floyd are, I've been a big fan of theirs for, long after they finished, but 10 or so more years, but I was researching Syd Barrett, who was a founding member, and he was kind of their main songwriter, but he kind of disappeared before they broke big with Dark Side of the Moon, and kind of became a recluse, which was supposedly down partly to mental illness, but that might have been triggered by severe substance abuse, so dropping acid or LSD, whatever they used to do. And basically I was researching the years in between him leaving Pink Floyd or disappearing, and then what happened up to his death in, I think, 2009 from memory, or 2011. And then it became more, and I wanted to write something about that because it was very sort of close to my heart, and their music is anyway, and the subject matter, but it became more about sort of father-son relationships and, again, dysfunction, I suppose, dysfunctional family relationships and conflict. So it's about various things. I'm sure people have probably picked up, like all our films, they pick up, everyone has a different interpretation. Once it's out there, you have to let it go, and that's part of what's exciting, I think, about filmmaking, is give the sort of like call and response of the
Okay.
audience.
So we can move to Nelson.
fine,
Thank you. I think parody came from I was watching a film called The Nymphomaniac by Lars von Trier, one of my favourite directors. Very hard to watch some of his movies, but he's very good at what he does. And I also love Amélie, a French movie, and I always wanted to experiment with subtitles. But I really felt there was a story to tell in a sex addict. You can get to the truth and the depth of him, and then I wanted to kind of mix it into a comedy, and I just ran with it. From that point, I just knew I wanted to make someone who was in trouble with himself. He wanted to come to be free from it, and I thought having Christianity. I originally thought that it could be yoga. That was the first. It's like a spiritual awakening, how he cures his addiction. But then I thought, let me stick with this because I'm a Christian, and I kind of married the two and tried to make it funny. But
Okay, so essentially the comedy was there from the start, yeah?
I think so, yeah, because originally the very first basis was I wanted to make a subtitled movie. I love French cinema, and I knew it was going to be about a sex addict and his problems. But then the comedy just came, and I thought, yeah, I want to make this uplifting. I didn't want to make it a serious piece. I wanted it to be uplifting, so that's where it came from.
I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one whose film was sort of directly inspired by another film. Mine is from a film called Body Heat, if anyone knows that, kind of 80s sort of neo-noir.
No.
William Hurt, yeah?
Yeah,
Sorry.
William Hurt and Kathleen Turner. Which is one of my favourite films. I was watching that once, and that also has a scene where the two illicit lovers have dinner with the woman's husband. One time I was watching that and kind of thought, wouldn't it be funny if he sort of got on so well with the husband that he eventually decided to kill the wife instead. It's as basic as that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Quick question about your film, Gabriel. You have like an epilogue at the end, which is set before the sort of end point of the narrative. Can you tell us a bit about that?
That was always part of the construction. So it's sort of it's kind of like a sort of final twist after kind of real twist after the twist in a way. So if in theory, although it's kind of like signposted, if the like ending is kind of a twist in itself, then the idea with that scene was meant to be that sort of actually that was where the husband was revealed to not really be the kind of charming individual that he was sort of set up to be before in the writing, but then that actually didn't really come across in the finished film anyway. So it's just kind of like an amusing sort of epilogue rather than such a sort of twist in the tale kind of thing.
Right, so we're showing short films, or we have been showing short films today. Let's talk about sort of the way you distribute them and a target audience. So who was your film targeted at, and how did you intend to distribute it?
I never really had a particular target audience in mind as such, I suppose. You're sort of often told that you should do, and you kind of need to have that in mind beforehand. I think it's probably more necessary at feature level. I think kind of short films, it's maybe not so important because you're not really, I think most people are generally not expecting them to be more than sort of practice and calling cards for hopefully your kind of future feature work anyway. I can honestly say I never had any kind of real target audience in mind. Distribution, again, not really, other than sort of whatever festivals might accept it, and I'm actually still not quite completely decided what point I'll eventually sort of probably just put it online for free.
Okay. Nelson?
I thought when I was writing the script it would be targeted, I'd say, between 18 and 35 year olds, male and female, I think. Sorry, I forgot. Damien, Gabriel, sorry. As Gabriel said, with a short film, you can, it's more kind of features, you get that locked in. But ultimately, I think that's the answer to your question, that's the age range. And I knew I wanted it to be with people with sex addiction and the Christianity theme could reach out there. Distribution, I think festivals, pretty much. I think festivals, I wanted to get into festivals, which I'm very pleased Dorking accepted. And online eventually, maybe some different online channels. I know that Film Shortage, the website, is they accepted my trailer actually. So yeah, just reaching out.
Okay, Nelson, while you've got the mic, so you come from a religious background?
Yes, I'm a Christian, my family's Christians.
Okay. Have you shown this film to people at your church?
No, I don't go to church as much anymore.
Oh, okay.
When I was, I don't think, it's actually funny, when I was trying to actually get a church to accept the movie, I was actually thrown out of one. They actually read the script. They said, yeah, come down, we'll have a look, make sure you bring the script. So I was like, oh God. So I brought it with me and I was sat there as they were reading it and they said, no, this isn't for us.
Okay, I mean, I would say in defence, it's maybe subversive, but it has a very positive message.
And that's what I wanted to get across. This has a positive message. It has a positive message on the Christianity and redemption.
Okay. Thanks, Nelson.
Welcome.
So distribution. I'll be honest and say that I didn't consider that probably as much as I should have. Maybe it's inexperience with my own production. It's because mainly it had taken me so long to find a story that I felt I could commit the time to, that I wouldn't get bored with, and that I could, be in love with. You've got to spend a lot of time with it, as you chaps know. I did try, after the film was finished, I've yet to hear back from a number of them, but there's a fantastic website called No Film School, which has a lot of advice, and there's a list of, it's a few years old now, but it's a list of distributors, like online and TV, global short film distributors. I'd say about 30-40% of them aren't active now, but I've heard back from some of them and it's all been no's, but waiting to hear back from some. But because my previous short film had been on TV, there's a channel in Brighton called Latest TV, but just as I finished the film they stopped doing their short film showcase because they said, oh yeah, we'd love to see it, and because it was delayed I just missed the last slot. But festivals like Dorking, obviously. Gabriel and I were crossing the screen in Eastbourne. The festival circuit.
Okay. We're nearly out of time, but one more for you, Josh. Were you tempted to go the comedy route with your film, given your background?
No, because it's probably the tiny bit. I mean, that's debatable, I suppose, because no one laughed. But there's a little bit of comedy in there, dark humour. But yeah, no, I think I always quote, it sounds terribly pompous, there's a great Woody Allen film called Stardust Memories, I'm sure some people have seen it. But there's a bit where he talks about all his publicists are there and they're trying to everyone's like, why don't you go back to doing your earlier funnier stuff? And he's like, well, how can I write funny stuff when there's so much horror in the world and and everyone's suffering, it's like I don't feel funny, and that sounds depressing, I know. I feel sorry for me, but yeah, no, I can't. I just felt like I needed to do something dramatic. There was a part of me that I needed to, again, that sounds very pompous, but I needed to get it out there, more for my own benefit, really. Cool, thank you very much.
Right, we're tight for time, so thank you to our filmmakers on the panel. Thank you, guys.